Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing another tier list. For this one, I'm going to be ranking all the tools and items in Phasmophobia that you can bring based on how useful I think they are. I'm also hoping this is going to act as a guide for some of the newer players or for those who are curious about the game. So let's get straight into it. First up, we've got the evidence gathering equipment. Without a doubt, some of the most important items in the game, the ones that will help you complete the main objective of identifying the ghost. So without a doubt, these all belong in S tier. So let's go through them. We've got the book to identify ghost writing. We've got the EMF reader to get EMF level 5 if that's evidence. We've got the spirit box in case that's evidence. We then have the video camera to identify ghost orbs if you get ghost orbs that mission. We've got the UV flashlight to both look for fingerprints and to also look for footprints in salt piles if salt is disturbed. I'll cover that more later when we talk about salt. And finally, special shout out to the thermometer, the most important of the bunch in my opinion, as it is the most reliable way to find the ghost room. When using the thermometer to find the ghost room, temperatures of 13 degrees Celsius and higher are normal. As soon as you start hitting in the 12 degrees Celsius range or lower, it means that you've either passed the ghost, or if you're getting consistently low temperatures in one room, it's very likely that that's the ghost room. You can then also use the thermometer to look for freezing temperature evidence if you do get 0 degrees Celsius or lower. I do find that the thermometer has about a 2 degrees Celsius fluctuation built into it, so I have found that once you start hitting 2 degrees Celsius, it will eventually definitely go freezing. Moving on, let's cover the two flashlights. So you get the strong flashlight and you get the normal flashlight. Without a doubt, the strong flashlight is something I would bring every single mission. It is your main source of portable light. You can both hold it in your hand, you can also use it as a shoulder light when you're holding another item by pressing T. The flashlight will also flicker during a hunt continuously, so you do know when a hunt's going on. The strong flashlight is just so much better than the normal flashlight, it gives you so much more light. So without a doubt, it's a necessity. The strong flashlight I am going to put in S tier. If you can't afford a strong flashlight, or if you forget to bring it for whatever reason, the normal flashlight will do the job. It's just not very bright and it can make it a bit difficult to see sometimes. So it is useful, but not the most useful. Always bring a strong flashlight if you can. So I'm going to put the normal flashlight in B tier. Next, I'd like to cover the three sensors in the game. That's motion, sound and infrared. I would say that I don't think they're very useful in general, all three of them, but I would say the motion is the most important of the bunch and can also be an optional objective which can get you more money at the end of the mission. So for the motion sensor, you place it on the wall and a short beam extends in front of the motion sensor. If a player or the ghost then walks through this beam, the motion sensor will go off. The red light on it will go green, which you will see in the room if you're there, and you will hear a beeping noise. You can also see if the motion sensor gets triggered from the truck, as it is displayed on the map. You will hear the beeping noise for any detections, and the red line in front of it will turn green on the truck map when it goes off. Personally, I don't see much use for the motion sensor. I would much rather use other methods such as the thermometer or the EMF reader in order to locate and track the ghost. So I would only bring the motion sensor to complete the optional objective, so I don't think it's a very useful item. Therefore, I am going to put the motion sensor in C tier. So for the infrared sensor, I feel like this is just a worse version of the motion sensor. It will light up when something walks in front of it, but you can't even detect this from the truck. Personally, I don't have a use for the infrared sensor at all. In my opinion, I would say it's the most useless item in the game. I'm so sorry. Therefore, you are going in D tier. And for the last sensor, you've got the sound sensor. So you place it on the wall, it will cover a fairly sizable area, sometimes even 2 or 3 rooms, depending on the map. You go back to the truck, and if any ghost interactions or player interactions with doors or things like that happen within the area, you will get a spike on the sound sensor reading on the truck. In my opinion, sound sensors take far too long to set up, and you don't really need to do it when you've got such a reliable method to find the ghost room, such as the thermometer. Therefore, I would say the sound sensor is very useless, and it does take far too long to set up. I'm going to put you, along with the infrared sensor, in D tier. I do feel like the sensors in general need a bit of a rework in order to make them more useful. Next, I'll cover the candle and smudge sticks, which are both reliant on the lighter, so I will talk about that as well. So first of all, the candle. You will need to use a lighter to light it. Holding the candle in your hand will actually give you a decent amount of light. The useful thing about a candle is that it will also slow down your sanity drain in the darkness when you hold it in your hand. You can also leave candles on the floor in order to illuminate rooms in case you lose power, which is very useful. So I do feel like the candles can be quite useful for slowing down sanity and providing a bit of extra light, but they're not essential, so I'm going to put it in B tier. Now we'll do the smudge sticks. So you have to light the smudge sticks using a lighter or a lit candle. Now I love the smudge sticks, they're one of my favourite items in the game. I find them so useful. So using smudge sticks in the room will make the ghost more active. Also, using it not during a hunt, but in the ghost room, will prevent a hunt for 90 seconds. This is also the weakness of the spirit, so this will be doubled to 180 seconds for a spirit. Incredible. So that's a lot of time where you can get in, do your objectives, and not have to worry about being hunted. You can also bring up to 4 smudge sticks per mission. Smudge sticks are also very useful during a hunt. If you're being chased, and you're going to get caught, whether it be a revenant or you've just walked into a dead end, lighting the smudge stick with the ghost next to you will actually repel the ghost for a few seconds. This does buy you time to run away, break line of sight, or go and hide somewhere. Definitely a lifesaver. So the smudge sticks just have so many uses, and they can also be an optional objective, giving you even more money. So without a doubt, I'm going to put the smudge sticks in S tier. Just remember to bring your lighter. So as a standalone item, the lighter is quite useless. It doesn't give you much light and doesn't really have much of a use. However, you will need it in order to light smudge sticks or the candle if you want to bring either of those. So we'll come to a compromise. Let's put the lighter in A tier. Now for the crucifix, definitely more useful on some maps compared to others. So the crucifix will prevent a hunt if the ghost tries to initiate a hunt within a 3-meter radius of the crucifix. This is increased to a 5-meter radius for the banshee, as it is the banshee's weakness. The crucifix has 2 uses, and after the second hunt has been prevented, the crucifix will disappear. As the radius of the crucifix isn't too big, it's much more useful on the smaller maps to prevent hunts, and is rather difficult on some of the larger rooms on maps such as Asylum, Prison or High School. However, the ability to prevent a hunt is extremely useful. I'm going to put the crucifix in A tier. You may struggle to use it in some of the larger rooms, so just bear this in mind. Now for the head-mounted camera. Useless when playing solo, but can be useful in a group. So someone equips the head-mounted camera, and then whatever they see will be displayed on the camera view on the truck. Therefore, someone can go into the ghost room wearing the camera, someone can stay on the truck and look through their display, and you can use this to look for ghost orbs, so it can be very useful. And they can also just turn their mouse, turn their head, in order to look for ghost orbs from a different angle, so not much setup is required. However, as you can't really use this solo, it does sometimes have a use, sometimes it doesn't, therefore I am going to put you in A tier. So now we've got the parabolic microphone, a very controversial item. So how it works, or how it's supposed to work, you point it in a direction. If somewhere in front of you in that area, the ghost does an interaction with a door or an item, you are supposed to get a reading on the parabolic microphone. However, do be warned, playing with other people, you do also pick up noise from other players. However, I don't always find that it works as intended, and I find that the range can sometimes be very buggy. So I've used it in the past with mild success, but it's very hit and miss, so I'm going to put the parabolic in C tier. Next, I'd like to cover the glow sticks and salt, but first I'll cover salt. So how salt works, you get 3 uses of salt per can. Once you think you know where the ghost is, it's a good idea to place salt down and see if the ghost steps in the salt. If the ghost disturbs the salt pile, if you quickly look with UV light or the glow stick, you will see footprints on the floor. Unless it's a wraith, wraiths are the only ghosts that shouldn't leave footprints as it's their weakness. Salts can also be an optional objective, and it is kind of useful just to get confirmation that the ghost is nearby. So I am going to put salt in B tier. It does have some use, but it's not the most useful or necessary item. Going back to the glow stick, I wouldn't use the glow stick as a source of light. It is very dim, it won't get you very far. You can also use the glow stick to look for fingerprints, but the UV flashlight is much more reliable as it is much brighter. What I would use the glow stick for is to look for footsteps. So when you place salt on the floor, what I would do, I would turn on the glow stick and drop it nearby. Then if there are any footsteps, for example if you're checking for a wraith or not, the glow sticks should automatically illuminate any nearby footsteps. So the glow stick can be useful, but it's definitely not a necessity. It is a bit more niche, so I'm going to put the glow stick in B tier along with the salt. Next up, we've got the Sanity Pills, definitely one of the more useful items. Each pill will restore 40% of your sanity. Sometimes you reach the point where you've not got all the evidence, and your sanity is so low that you're getting constantly hunted, so it makes it impossible to even get back to the ghost room. In this case, sanity pills are your best friend. Go and take some, you'll be above the threshold where hopefully you shouldn't get hunted for a while, giving you time to go and get evidence or complete other optional objectives. Sanity pills can be a necessity, especially on some of the larger maps where it can take a while to find the ghost room, but even on the smaller maps sometimes you get stubborn ghosts that will not give you evidence for a long time, meanwhile your sanity is draining, and you might get constantly hunted, so definitely bring sanity pills to every mission, one of the more useful items. I'm going to put the sanity pills in S tier. So on to the penultimate item, we've got the tripod. You use the tripod in combination with the video camera in order to look for ghost orbs. The tripod really just gives you some flexibility. You don't need to find something to prop the video camera on, for example. You can move the tripod around quite freely in order to get multiple different angles of the room in order to check for ghost orbs in different places. The tripod definitely gives you a lot of flexibility, something I do recommend bringing to most missions, but at the end of the day it isn't a necessity. Just something that's very useful to have. So by that logic, I'm going to put the tripod in A tier. And to round it up, the final item is the photo camera. Now the photo camera is something you should bring to every mission. You do actually get one by default, but I do recommend adding extras as you only get 5 photos per camera, which you can quickly use up. So you can take photos of so many things and they will all give you money at the end of the mission. Examples include photos of the ghost, photos of ghost interactions, ghost writing evidence, fingerprint evidence, Ouija board, and even more. The photo camera is also required to complete some of the optional objectives, such as capture a photo of the ghost or capture a photo of dirty water in the sink. All in all, the photo camera is an extremely useful item. I do recommend bringing more, as you can quickly use up your photos from just one camera. So I'm going to put the photo camera in S tier, especially when you start out and you're learning the game. Getting money is very important to be able to afford things. So that's how I would rank every item in Phasmophobia in terms of their usefulness. So to summarise, D tier, I find those items completely useless. I would not use them at all. Those in C tier are still rather useless, but you might be able to find the odd use for them. For the items in B tier, they're definitely getting more useful. I just feel like those are items that have more of a niche role to fill. They are definitely not necessary. Items in A tier are very, very useful, and probably items I would bring every mission. However, they definitely aren't necessary, so just decide if they're worth bringing for you or not. And finally, S tier items. Evidence items belong here by default for very obvious reasons, and the other items I put here are extremely useful and things I would bring every mission. So that's all for this video. I hope you found this helpful, especially if you are new or haven't explored many of the items yet in the game. As always, thank you for watching, stay safe and happy hunting.